Shalom, Israel. This your brother Shamuel Kassad, giving all thanks to the Most High Yahweh and his beloved son Yahweh Shai. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2020. Right now, got this article from CNBC from a statement from your man, President Trump, EJ Trump. Article reads, Trump tells suburban voters they will no longer be bothered by low-income housing. Woo. The article was from yesterday, July 29th. And let's see what my man President Trump got to say about that. Let me read the key points. I'm happy to inform all the people living their suburban lifestyle dream that you will no longer be bothered or financially hurt by low-income housing built in your neighborhood, Trump tweeted Wednesday. Earlier this month, the Trump administration replaced an Obama-era fair housing rule with its own dubbed Preserving Community and Neighborhood Choice. The tweet marks an exclamation of Trump's campaign strategy of trying to stoke fear in suburban voters of poor urban residents who are overwhelmingly people of color. It says Washington. It's your man Trump right there. Washington. President Donald Trump on Wednesday made one of his most overt appeals so far in the campaign to white suburban voters, saying in a tweet that they will no longer be bothered, quote unquote, by low income housing in their suburbs. There's his tweet right there. I am happy to inform all other people living their suburban lifestyle dream that you will no longer be bothered or financially hurt by having low income housing built in your neighborhood on July 29th. Housing prices won't go up based on the market and crime will go down. I have rescinded the Obama Biden AFFH rule. Enjoy. The tweet comes as polls show Trump's reelection effort is faltering in the suburbs, fueled by his administration's failed response to the coronavirus pandemic. The ensuing recession and Trump's aggressive opposition to the Black Lives Matter movement, which polls show most suburban voters support. Trump tweets referred to affirmatively furthering fair housing rule, an Obama administration update to the 1968 civil rights legislation, the Fair Housing Act. The fair rule required local governments receiving federal fundings for fair housing and developments to account for biased practices and craft a plan to fix them. Earlier this month, the Trump administration announced that it was replacing the fair housing rule with its own rule. It was dubbed Preserving Community and Neighborhood Choice. Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson said the Obama-era rule proved to be complicated, costly, and ineffective. But we found it to be unworkable and ultimately a waste of time for localities to comply with, too often resulting in funds being steered away from communities that need them most, Carson said in a press release at that time. Now, see, let me stop right here. Listen, you want to know what my man Trump is saying? What President Trump is saying? Basically, in a roundabout way, he's pretty much saying that Section 8 is over. He's pretty much saying that, or that in the communities, in the upscale communities, that in the apartment buildings where they might keep like 20% of the apartment for low income folks, the quote unquote 80/20 housing, while 80% pay the current market rate, but 20% pay, low income rates. He's pretty much saying that that's about to be over. You know what I'm saying? Which to me, I honestly believe is a gift and a curse. But let's read on. Yet studies have shown for decades that concentrating low income families into small geographical areas, one consequence of the urban housing projects built in the 1960s and 1970s, only served to exacerbate the difficulties that poor residents face. More recent research have also shown that one of the most successful ways to help low-income families get good educations for their children and integrate into middle class is by actively enter interpersonal low-income housing throughout middle and upper middle class neighborhoods. Which is true. That's one way for a lot of low-income families to that have children is able to get better education, so they could be able to rise above and make something of themselves and become productive citizens of society. Be exposed to upper better education, where they being exposed to you know different things like the arts, sports, better math, better, what I'm saying, at, better teachers that could teach them, better teachers, smaller classroom where they'll be able to concentrate and focus and be able to learn more. Whereas, them being in overcrowded public school in the hood, what I'm saying, where the classes are overcrowded, you know, you half of your classmates are a bunch of, what I'm saying, bunch of hood boogers disrupting the class and interrupting the class, and you there trying to learn, try to better yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, that is one of the trade offs. That low income children from low income families have to suffer. Because that door for them to receive a better education and to be able to rise up, rise up through the ranks and become better and productive citizens. That opportunity is being robbed from them. Let's read on. But for Trump, an incumbent president behind in the polls, fierce opposition to integrating low income housing is much more than just zoning policy. Wednesday's tweet marks an escalation in Trump's ongoing effort to stoke fear in suburban voters that poor urban residents, who are overwhelmingly people of color, will move into the suburbs if low income housing is permitted to be built in single family home neighborhoods. And see, it's not really so much as even Trump try to fearmonger. I'm pretty sure that for most, if not all, other people in the middle class neighborhoods don't want them there anyway. And it's not the fact of, quote unquote racism or anything like that. It's more so that a lot of times, a lot of those apartments go to, single mothers and, with children, with badass children, children out of pocket, you know what I'm saying? And she probably let some hood booger nigga shack up with her, you know what I'm saying? Pistol Pete, Pookie, Ray Ray, Rooftop Trey, you know what I'm saying? Cornbread, shout out to Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying? Let niggas like that stay with them. Her kids, you know, being knuckleheads, bringing the hood booger attitude, the hood booger mentality and lifestyle to upper middle class neighborhood. You know, I'm gonna say it like this. They could bring the quality of life down. You know what I'm saying? Like simple and plain. And it's not the fact that that they're being black. It's just the fact, or people of color. It's just the fact that far too often, A lot of these low income housing, they don't really go to two parent homes where the say it's a black family, where a two family home where you know the father's doing his thing, the mother's doing their thing, and they're trying to raise their children to be productive citizens of society. A lot of times, that few and far between, it'll be families like that will get those apartments. 9 times out of 10, it'll be these, I'm gonna just keep it a stack. A lot of times it'll be these ghetto hood rats with these badass kids. You know what I'm saying? The badass kids raising them to be the next hood booger, the next thug and hooligan. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, they tend to have, her baby daddy or one of her boyfriends of the week, super thug, shacking up with her, and they bringing all that, good old hood boogerism to the neighborhood and end up bringing down the quality of life. Seen it happen numerous times, man. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of folks in the middle class neighborhoods have seen that. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's just my take on it. Continue on. In an election year defined by a pandemic, a financial crisis, and a racial justice movement, Trump's appeal to white suburban voters are a part key of his campaign strategy. Which that I'm gonna say allegedly, because you got a lot of black, Hispanic, and Asian middle class too. You got a lot of them living in the suburbs too, and I'm pretty sure they feel the same way too. I'm pretty sure a lot of black middle class or upper middle class families feel the same way. They don't want, Sharkeisha, what I'm saying, and her 3 kids by 3 baby daddies coming to the hood, bringing a nonsense, bringing a drama, you know what I'm saying, bringing, Pistol Pete, you know what I'm saying, Raheem, the Wonder Thug, bringing niggas like that over, bring her drama, over to the new neighborhood, and eventually bring down the quality of life. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of middle class black families that don't want to see that shit either. So, that I'm gonna just say allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's not just white folks that live in the suburbs now. This is no longer the '60s. You know what I'm saying? In the past 30, 40 years, you have a lot of black and a lot of Hispanic families that rose up to middle class. So I'm gonna say it like this: from my perspective, this article might be a form of fear mongering. Let's read on. An election year defined by a pandemic, a financial crisis, and a racial justice movement, Trump's appeal to white suburban voters are a key part of his campaign strategy. Trump's line of attack have been condemned by Democrats and some Republicans who say it echoes racist appeals made to white voters during the civil rights era, which is true. Again, it sounds like Jim Crow all over again. You know what I'm saying? Just got to keep it real, got to keep it fair. It does sound like Jim Crow all over again. Yes, a lot of low income families that's working to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? That's trying to survive, that's trying to stay afloat in this world where the cost of living is constantly going up. They do deserve a fair chance on bettering themselves. They do deserve to live in nice, decent neighborhoods like everybody else. I'm only talking about the hardworking, lower income folks that actually trying to make something of themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about, Boom Shika that got 3 kids by 3 baby daddies on welfare, that's doing a lot of hood booger shit. I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about the hardworking low income folks. And my thing is, they're gonna have to suffer. The hardworking low income folks, the hardworking low income families are going to have to suffer, you know, for the fact of, that Bushika, Sharkeisha, and them pretty much ruined it for them. I'm gonna say it like that. An election. Let me read the next line. Trump's line of attack have been condensed by Democrats and by some Republicans who said it echoes racist appeals made by white voters during the civil rights era. Not only is the strategy drawing condemnation from across the political spectrum, according to this polls, it's also failing. A recent Fox News poll showed Trump's trailing presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden by 11 points nationwide among suburban voters. An ABC News Washington Post poll released July 19th revealed a similar spread with Trump down 9 points in the suburbs to Biden. Despite these ominous numbers, Trump has so far rejected advice from campaign strategists who have urged him to expand his base of support by appealing to more moderate Republicans, especially women. Instead, Trump has doubled down on racist and divisive messages, aiming them directly at the very women that survey shows are not receptive to overtly racial appeals. It's another one of President Trump's tweet. The suburban housewife, the suburban housewives of America must read this article. Biden will destroy your neighborhood and your American dream. I will preserve it and make it even better. In the past month, the president has also defended Confederate monuments and the Confederate flag, and he has threatened to veto a defense bill that would rename military bases currently named for Confederate soldiers. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My take on it, I'm actually split on this. You know, I feel like you know that this whole thing it would be a bad idea because a lot of low income families that's actually legit trying to get ahead. That basically keep their nose clean, stay out of trouble. They're just trying to live their life, do right, and just progress. You know, I feel like a lot of them are going to suffer from this, especially the children, because they're gonna have to be stuck, like I said, in these overcrowded schools. A lot of these public schools are overcrowded and underfunded. Underfunded. It's overcrowded schools that have lack of funding. You know what I'm saying? They're stuck in a class with, you know, Tyrone the Hood Booger. You know what I'm saying? Raheem the Wonder Thug disrupting the class. And they did a learn and try to, get an education and try to do something with their lives. You know, the decent children, the children from decent low income families are going to have to suffer, with Tyrone and Pookie and the rest of the hood boogers. So I felt like this will be a huge blow to them. It will affect them negatively. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that that will really be a bad thing because I do believe that hardworking low income families need to be in a better situation. Need to be a safe environment, for the parents, so they could feel safe, live their life, won't have to look over their shoulder and worry about being robbed by Pookie and Ray Ray. You know what I'm saying? They won't have to deal with walking into the projects and had piss all over the piss in the stairway, shit in the stairway and piss in the elevators. You coming home from a hard, you a married man, you coming home from a hard day of work, and you got to navigate through a bunch of, gang banging hood boogers, in front of the building, just to get inside, to get to your apartment so you can relax. You understand what I'm saying? Good, honest, hardworking families are gonna have to suffer for that. Good, honest, hardworking families, you know, are gonna have to miss out on being in a safe environment to raise their families, where they don't have to look over their shoulder, worry about getting robbed. Where children will go to schools where they could be well educated, be exposed um, you know, to different things that they might not have had in public school in the hood, so that they'll be able to advance and be better people. You know what I'm saying? So that is to me, that is the downside, the con of this new bill that President Trump is proposing. Let me see what the name of the bill is again. Give me 1 minute. The affirmatively furthering fair housing rule. No, that's the Obama's rule, law that he repealed. His The act is the preserving community and neighborhood choice. So that's the con that I see for of of that act. You know what I'm saying? The pros that I see of President Trump doing this act, again, it goes into the name, preserving community and neighborhood choice. You know what I'm saying? If a low income family is able to move into a middle income or upper income neighborhood and pay less rent, that same low income family should be able to adapt to the quality of life of those neighborhoods. You understand what I'm saying? You're taking out a bad environment and being put in a new environment, so you should be able to conduct yourself accordingly. Again, like I said, in other states, for the AFFHR, affirmatively furthering fair housing rule that Obama updated, yeah, and it was from the 1968 civil rights legislation. Yeah, back then, um, that act was definitely used, was definitely a catalyst to get black folks and families of color, to get them ahead in life, because they will move to better areas where they'll be able to thrive more. But now in this but and that was back in the area where black families were still a thing. You see what I'm saying? But now, in this area of baby mamaism, hood boogerism, savagery, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna straight say it, niggerism. You know what I'm saying? Listen, now a lot of these upper and middle income neighborhoods, they care more about preserving the quality of life in their neighborhood. And you know what? I don't blame them, because again, you see across the U.S. for decades, the main folks that benefits from the Fair Housing Act is single mothers, and there's nothing wrong, nothing to slight them, but we're not talking about single mothers that's trying to raise their children right. We're talking about single mothers, Boom Shika and Sharkeisha and them, 3 kids, 3 baby daddies. You know what I'm saying? probably laying up with some Madden Thug King, some Hood Boogers, some Super Thug, Pistol Pete, you know what I'm saying? Raheem the Wonder Thug. Listen, a lot of neighborhoods around the U.S., their quality of life have been brought down because they start allowing, you know, not low income black folks, straight niggas into the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So now, you know, President Trump is proposing that. I guess it's a last ditch effort to get the votes of the suburban folks. And, listen, it might work. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to hold you. It might work. Now, with this whole age of, the racial tension, it definitely could be taken the wrong way or could be manipulated the wrong way. But from what I see, the pros about it, again, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of black, Hispanic, middle class, and upper middle class, citizens that live in nice neighborhoods that feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? They don't want no affordable housing to be put up, you know what I'm saying, for Sharkeisha and her badass kids, and her super thug boyfriend to come up in there and fuck up the quality of life, man. Again, like I said, through the Fair Housing Act that came from the Civil Rights era, that was able to catapult many black and Hispanic families ahead in life to the point where they're able to be in the middle and upper middle class area. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure they want anybody that follows suit after them was to, you know, you know, for lack of a better word, toe that line. You know what I'm saying? Don't come into the neighborhood and bring, the ghetto hood boogerism with them. You know what I'm saying? Leave that shit in the ghetto. And you know what? I completely agree. I completely agree. A lot of these handouts that the government gives to, majority of the single mothers, you know what I'm saying? Bringing a badass kids, bringing a ghetto behavior into nice neighborhoods and fucking up the quality of life. Listen, man, that ride is over. That ride is over. So now it might be the case where the only way for you to get out the hood is, you know, to just work your ass off, work hard. You know what I'm saying? For you single sisters out there, get married to a man of worth and stay married. Work with him. You know what I'm saying? Work with him. Be a good wife. Be a good partner. Be a helpmeet. That the Most High created you to be. And stop doing all this with stop doing all this savage lifestyle nonsense that hood rats like Cardi B and um, Meg the Male Horse, aka Meg the Stallion, is telling you to do. You know what I'm saying? That whole savage, I'm a bad bitch, savage, this, that, and the third. And for you brothers out there, that whole, I'm a hood booger, I'm a hood nigga, uh, coke boy, dope boy, this, that, and the third. Listen, man, Trump is putting all this up to keep y'all black asses out of these nice neighborhoods. And quite frankly, I don't blame him, man. I just don't blame him. Come on, it goes back to what he says. His second tweet: your housing prices will go up based on the market, and crime will go down. How is that going to happen? Because the fact that he rescinded that, a lot of broken families with all kinds of dysfunction would not be able to get into middle and upper middle class neighborhood with their fuckery and fuck the neighborhood up. Hood rats like Sharkeisha and Boom Shika, you know what I'm saying? And Lakeisha, again, with her 2 kids, 3 kids, 3 baby daddies, you know what I'm saying? They dating some dope boy, staying in her house, selling dope out of her house, making the neighborhood hot, bringing all kinds of unnecessary drama. She's not raising her kids to be productive citizens of society, so they grow up being knuckleheads and hood buggers and menaces. Listen, man, Trump trying to put a stop to that shit, and you know what? I don't blame him. So, but again, like I said, decent, upright, low income families, 2 parent home, 2 parent family homes that's trying to work together to accomplish something, that trying to keep their nose out of trouble, try to keep their nose clean, stay out of trouble. They're just trying to work hard to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? Provide a better future for themselves and their children. The jacked up thing about it, they got to suffer because of all of this, you know? But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Sign off in the comments. This is your brother Shamal Kassad signing off, saying shalom.